maybe it will. But so I'm gonna tear through. So I'm on a basically 400 plus issue run.
Rob Liefeld
run.
universe.
And so I
think my brain would.
Dude. Okay, so
turned to putty.
Like 2 or 3
exactly.
like a few episodes ago,
I might get dumber
of his podcast. He did a thing where he talked about because if you listen to his podcast at all, like the dude is a huge comic book fan. Like he loved comic books as a kid. Like he loves the medium. He's still kind of sort of doing it. You know, I mean, like he is a true comics artist fan. Like whether and
I like Rob Liefeld.
I gotta wade through the Rob Liefeld ego bullshit too to get through because there is a lot of that, especially if you listen to his podcast. Like it does get sort of old. But anyway, so like there was an episode recently where he was like, the whole thing was kind of like, is it fun? Like are comics fun? Like action, you know, double page spreads, you know, and reading.
Yeah,
like
you just see that on the stump.
But like, well, yeah, but like reading this stuff. So an example, so I read Youngblood, or I read some of Liefeld's early stuff, and then I got caught up on Undiscovered Country.
Yeah.
Which this is just, so I'm reading Youngblood, and it's all cool action, like everything's moving. Like even when they have like press conferences or whatever, like it seems like it moves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I go to Undiscovered Country, which is a good book, but it's totally different because like there's not a lot of action. Nothing happens. And even when it does, it doesn't feel like it flows. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm
not super impressed with that book, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm really
buying it basically just out of habit at this point.
Right. And, but I mean, he makes a point of like, you know, when he started out, like he wanted to be a storyteller. And I mean, you start at the top left of the page and you go down to the bottom right, you know what I mean? And it has to flow like story, like, this is stuff that I've read comic books for 30 plus years, but I've never really paid attention to. You know what I mean? Like, how well does a story flow? How well does a page flow? How does the pacing go? You know, stuff like that. Because you guys talk about it all the time. I don't pay attention to like pacing and shit. But anyway, there's a definite energy in that early Image stuff. I mean, you could see it like in the late Marvel stuff where they were going and then they transitioned, and then when they got cut loose and did whatever they wanted, I mean, hell, it's just like it opened up. Like it's just crazy balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Crazy shit. And I mean, there's even blood. Like, you know, it's young blood, but I mean, there's a little bit of more blood. Like when he in one of the pages where he punches a dude, I mean, you see red blood. You know, you talk about
did an eye go popping out there?
You hear about but I mean, you hear about like. You know, in
hey, fun fact.
Yes.
So when Youngblood was on the stand,
it's a flip book.
It's a flip book. So there's like this, and then there's this.
Yep.
When I went to the comic book store, they had both of them on the shelf, one like this and one like this. So I thought they were two different books.
So you bought both
because I thought it was two different books.
Yep, me too.
I thought it was two number ones, and then I get them home. I'm like, oh crap! I just bought two of the same.
He does it on the second issue too. There's a
split. His sales are because I was tricked by the comic book store.
I know, but there is so the first issue is a flip book, but it's two stories. So there's two teams. There's an away team and there's a home
and then he did weird shit even with number 3. There's number 3.
Well, yeah, he understood what was happening, but I was wise to it.
But what he's doing, so in the second issue, the main story is a Youngblood, and then the flip book is it's a preview of Shadowhawk. So it's Jim Valentino.
Yes, I think he was doing advertising. Like yeah, because I think the same thing's happening here.
And the same thing with number 3. It's
because he's doing Supreme.
Yeah, so he has like a 3 or 4 page preview of Supreme, but yeah, they are flip
Enter
books.
Supreme.
The first issue is
he was trying to build his universe, and you have those good old first appearance of,
which is crazy though because he introduces so many characters in that first issue because you basically got 2 teams, and you got like 6 or 7 characters in each team. So I mean, you're blasted with like
and one
14
team
characters.
Had
you know,
Die Hard, Shaft, Chapel, and Badrock. And one team had all these other people I didn't give a crap about.
Right.
To be quite honest.
Yeah. But so
about like.
So I read.
Well, this guy's like Shatterstar from X-Force, isn't it, or something?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Shaft.
Yeah. It's all Marvel stuff. Pretty much. But so I'll try to make it brief.
Oh,
I mean, I'll
I've got.
points.
Who do you have inside yours? I have Vogue. Ooh.
Yeah, they're all the same.
Are they all the same? I thought maybe it was a different card depending on the issue. Okay.
No, and it's a series. It goes through like the first so many issues. So it's like numbered 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6. I mean, they're all.
I do have to say that the art is like still just freaking kick ass though. Good old.
It is. It really is. It has an energy to it. I mean.
Yes, it does. It does. Yeah,
the
I mean,
thing
just
I don't like.
Colors and everything, you know, are just so crazy.
And some of the coloring, it seems a little off too. It's like weird choices.
Well, they were experimenting.
But they were. It was very early computer digital coloring. Yeah. But so. I read the first 7 issues, not of all of Youngblood, but in the series.
I have Shaft in this side. I don't even think I've opened this in like probably 20 years. Huh.
I don't think I had either until I did.
Probably
now.
30.
But I've got like the first 7 issues that I've read. So,
man, how old am I? Look at this one though. Ooh, it continues on to the back. The cover does.
Yeah, that's a wraparound.
That was number 4.
It is. It is 0.
Oh, 0, my bad.
Oh, yeah, 0. Oh, so.
Oh, my gosh. Look at that. Woo.
Yeah, I don't think I didn't get to 0, but I had read it already, but I haven't read it in order. But the bag that I have
this
0.
Thing? It's got like this big pink thing in the friggin' front.
Okay, so that's your coupon.
It's your coupon for Image 0, dude.
For Image 0.
Oh, I got
Did you not mail off your?
No, you don't have Image 0. You have Youngblood 0.
Oh, okay. That is true.
You didn't mail off for Image 0?
I guess I did not.
What the hell, Scott? You missed the boat.
You won't have the full story.
Honor it now?
No, I don't think so.
No, it has an expiration date on it. I read it because there's one in Brigade too.
I mailed mine off. I got mine.
I did.
0.
I mailed mine off too.
Look at that. Sure enough.
Yep. There's 7 of them. You got to buy all 7 books.
And you can mail off for Image 0.
And you cut out the coupon and you mail it off.
It was a total piece of shit.
It wasn't.
Yeah, because it looks like I never bought Savage Dragon.
Well, that's because you're a loser.
Yes, you are.
That is true.
All right. So Youngblood 1, Youngblood issue 1. We already talked about it. It's a flip book. It has half of it's the away team and half of it's the home team. So we start out, and Shaft is the leader of the home team. He's the Hawkeye character, basically. He shoots arrows.
Is he not Green Arrow?
He could be Green Arrow. He could be Hawkeye.
Let's call him Green Arrow.
Okay, he could be Green Arrow.
Does he have trick arrows?
He's a mix between that and Shatterstar.
Yeah, they're all just regular
arrows. He does have the Shatterstar face and haircut.
But
he does.
He's at the mall. And he's at the shopping mall with his girlfriend.
On his lunch break, no less.
On his lunch break. And so there's this bad guy that's running through the mall. And so, of course, he's the big hero, so he's got to try to stop him. So he takes him down. Well, it's a setup because there's another bad guy that's up on the upper level. It's all set up that he's trying to kill Shaft. So the first guy's a distraction. But, of course, Shaft with his spidey sense, whatever, knows, and he turns around and sees the guy, and he doesn't have his bow and arrow, so he takes a ballpoint pen out of his pocket and uses that as a weapon and throws it and kills the guy. Off the second story and lands in the fountain. You know, the fountains that they have at the mall?
Shaft has no superpowers, does he?
No.
I haven't been to a mall so long, I have no idea.
They're all they're enhanced.
Oh, so Shaft is enhanced?
He is, but he doesn't really. He's like Captain America. Like, he doesn't have any overt superpowers. He just has like enhanced reflexes.
Well, Captain America has a super soldier too.
Right, but I mean, yeah, he has a little bit of super strength.
Yeah, some kind of.
But I don't think that's it with him. I think.
Okay.
But all the Youngblood people, I think, are some kind of enhancement. It's almost like, so when Rob Liefeld describes Youngblood, which it is if you read it, but it's like, what if it's almost like Youngblood was boys before the boys. Because it's like, what if superheroes were super commercial, and they had celebrities and they had toy deals.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had this concept, like, what if superheroes celebrities, but he does nothing interesting with it whatsoever.
Right. No. I'm not saying that he does.
So he's like,
concept is in there. I mean,
yeah, he says, here's a concept, and then he does nothing with the concept.
Right.
Like Brat Pack did it much better.
Yeah.
Boys
Oh,
done
yeah.
it much better. So it's like, okay, so you had this cool concept, but you're not a good enough writer to actually explore it.
That may be true.
He had good ideas, though.
Yeah, he had good ideas. No execution.
So he stops him, and then beeper goes off, because this is the 90s, and you have beepers and not cell phones. So Shaft's beeper goes off, and then you go through you meet all of the team members, like Bedrock. He's Bedrock early on.
Yes, they had
before he becomes Bedrock.
He got sued by Hanna-Barbera or whatever. Yeah. So Bedrock, they look to him, and he's at home, and he's having a home-cooked meal with his mom. Because Bedrock is actually like a 17-year-old kid in this giant rock body.
He's kind of like the Thing.
Yes, he is like the Thing. So anyway, so then you meet all of the characters. So you meet Bedrock, you meet Die Hard, you meet Chapel.
He's the hairy old guy.
That's, I believe that's Combat.
Oh. With a K, right?
With a C.
Oh, that's too bad.
I think it is with a C,
K.
but it might be KH. I can't remember. But anyway, so then you go through the introduction of the team, and then they all meet together, and they get together because there's a group of bad guys. I think they just call them like the Four or something. I can't remember if I wrote it down or not, but they captured like 2 of the team members, and they're transporting them to like a prison or whatever, and they get an alert that the other team members are trying to break out the other 2 team members, so they have to race to the scene and try to stop the prison break and catch the other 2, and that's where that half of that book stops. And then if you flip it over to the other side, now you're on the away team. And this one starts right in the middle of the action. They're over because this is like 92. So that's like the war in the Middle East, whatever war that was. I mean, we've had so many over there or whatever. But it's basically like, what's his name? Hussein. Who is the guy over there?
Saddam Hussein.
Right. So they're overseas in Iran, Iraq, wherever, and the guy's name is Hussein instead of
Saddam Hussein,
or it's Hussein or whatever. Hussein instead of Hussein, but it's the same thing. And they're over there, and I mean, it starts. They're dropping out of a plane. They're landing. They go in, and I think it's Force. It's this crazy dude, Fire.
Yeah,
the mean-looking dude. Like they go in, and he basically kills him. He kills the Saddam. He kills Hussein, and the war's over.
That's how it's done.
And now there's like backlash. So the official story is that he committed suicide before the team got there and they found his body. Basically, your first issue. Now the second one, issue 2, they introduced Prophet in the second issue. It starts with Prophet. They find him. And so Prophet is basically he was created like back in the 40s by like some scientist.
An even older Captain America.
Yes. X-Force? That's Boom Boom.
Right. I know. That's total. Those are the Berserkers. So that's his team.
That's Weapon X and Boom Boom.
I know. So that's his Berserker team.
Hey, it's Cable.
Mm-hmm. That's Kirby, named after Jack Kirby.
It looks like Cable.
Yeah, he does sort of. He's short though.
It's true. It's like
he's a short version of Cable. So it starts out, these Berserker guys are on the run from a bad guy, and then you get introduced to Prophet. He was created like back in the 40s, but he's much older than that, I think, because he's a time traveler. He's basically your Cable. Prophet is your Cable.
Hey, there's a Die Hard card.
Yep, there's a Die Hard card.
In a Bedrock. Yep. Is it worth more because the name's wrong?
Because the name's wrong. Yeah, it's pre-Bedrock. But anyway, so Prophet, he gets woken up, and Youngblood is there because I can't remember why they're over there, but they're there. And of course, they have to fight.
They're always in the right place at the right time.
Right. So they end up fighting, and they're over like in Germany. And so they fight. Let me see what I wrote down.
I don't know, man. That's not how you punch somebody. With Prophet's arm up like that?
They experimented him in
right.
1937. He's been in cryogenic sleep. Cougar, who is one of the...
right on, and they happen to punch somebody, too.
Cougar is one of the members of Youngblood. He accidentally frees Prophet, so Prophet wakes up.
That was an older woman.
He attacks Cougar in combat. He keeps referring to them as disciples.
I'm not a fan of Cougar.
Brahma...
that's a good punch,
my handwriting.
Look at that, right through him. That's how you punch.
Let me see.
Yeah, I like that.
That.
Look at the muscles on that person too, just rippling,
Doesn't even phase him.
Don't even phase him.
That is the money shot right there.
That dude just got RoboCop at 209.
Brahma clocks.
Yeah.
And then they make a reference.
Which issue is that?
Two. Prophet makes a comment.
You can follow along in your own copies, everybody.
I can follow along.
Prophet makes a comment or something that his body bank is recharging. So he's got like a satellite up in the sky that he calls Doc, and I think it somehow like helps to recharge him or whatever.
Wow, look at that. A Prophet cometh. I didn't even know Prophet was in this until you told me.
Right, Youngblood
and Die Hard.
And then the real disciples.
And Bedrock. Ooh, this is probably worth tons because they got sued over Bedrock, right?
I just said all that. He
hasn't. And then the real disciples show up, and they're followed by the Berserkers. And then I have written down that they have a Shadowhawk preview.
Did you write a synopsis?
Oh, look at that guy. He got killed like RoboCop style.
Ed 209.
So then the next issue that came out is Brigade number 1.
Oh, look at that. Shadowhawk.
Yeah.
That's the flip book.
So the next issue in the next order is Brigade number 1. So we open up and it's got a character named Battlestone. And
that's the next one in order?
Yeah, that's the next book that was released was Brigade number 1.
But is the order you're supposed to read them in?
I'm reading them in the order they were published.
I would just like to say
my Brigade number 1 didn't look like that.
It's that's Marat Michaels.
Rob Liefeld, Hank Canals.
That's number 1 of the ongoing series, not number 1 of the limited series.
Limited series.
Oh,
they have a 4-issue limited series, and then they launched into an actual series.
So of course they did.
So we're introduced to a character named Battlestone, and we find out that he was a previous leader of Youngblood. And then, of course, they introduced the team.
We should read manga on this podcast, and
it would be forward.
And it would be forward.
So you have a character named Cold Snap and Seahawk, and their brothers. And then there's another character named Atlas, Thermo, Ko, and Stasis. They get a call. So they're like an unsanctioned rogue superhero team. They're not like Youngblood are the only teams that are sanctioned so far, like in the United States. And this is Battlestone creating his like own group because he doesn't get along with Youngblood. He doesn't like the political aspect of it, whatever. So he's put together like his own rogue group of characters. So they find out, or they get a call or whatever, that these terrorists have placed a bomb in a building, and they're demanding that Brigade come, and they want Brigade there. So they go to rescue. They get in, they take care of the terrorists. One guy gets away. He's got the bomb. He sets it off. The building explodes. The building falls on Battlestone. We think that's the end. But, of course, he comes out of the rubble later. And then we see that there's an alien. His name is Genocide, and he's watching this happen, like, on his computer screen in his spaceship. And he says something about, I'm going to get Brigade or Battlestone, and he plots a course for Earth. And so that's that issue. Then we go into...
like Kang and whatever, those aliens off of The Simpsons.
The next book I read was Youngblood number 3. And so they've calmed down. They're not fighting anymore. They've made friends. And Prophet is telling them about the disciples. So then
he has to go off and do his own comic book series.
Right. And then so the home Youngblood team, this is the away team. They're knocked out. Combat, he's what they call a Catalan. He's from another world, but his race is called Catalan. And Photon is one of the characters, and he is a Arcturian. So then they switch to he's world building. So then they switch to
of course,
they're in space, and there's a delegation with both of the Catalans and the Arcturians, and they're trying to locate Combat and Photon on Earth. Youngblood has a press conference, and it's funny. So they're this is early on in Image, so they're weaving in all the other stuff. So like one of the reporters asks about Dragon. Have you heard about that guy in Chicago that's green? And then they ask about Shadowhawk. They're like, oh, there's some crazy guy in New York that's like breaking spines and stuff. So they at the end of the this is we're up to 3 already of Youngblood. Did we do 3? Okay, yeah. Anyway, so they had captured the 4. Well, they break out of prison, and so then they get out, and so they're fighting. Die Hard shows up. He tells Shaft that they have to go to Germany to find the away team, because they're all missing. So they've got to go to Germany. And that's basically what happens. You have a backup of Supreme in that one. So then we move to number 4. So the home team's flying to Germany to rescue the away team. Die Hard and Bedrock, they arrive first because they jump out of the plane. So Die Hard can fly and Bedrock can not get hurt. So they jump out of the plane first. And they find Prophet, and he's battling the Disciples, which the Disciples are like big robots. They're like those big robot things. So they join the battle, and they fight the Disciples. Chapel and Shaft arrive later, and he explains to him that Prophet is from the future, and his existence is to fight the Disciples. So then Vogue runs off, and she finds Sentinel, who had been knocked out, and he confirms that all this is true, that Prophet's on their side, and they got to fight these bad guys. So then Shaft sends Die Hard and Bedrock into the tunnels to go and try to find where all these guys are coming from. And they find a wormhole, and they go through, and they end up on another planet that's called D''Kay, Decay. And they meet this character. His name is Darkthorn. He's this big, bad guy. And he beats the crap out of Die Hard. And then they show him, he comes back through the wormhole to meet the rest of the team. And he has Bedrock with him. And Bedrock is under some kind of control. You can tell that he's not himself. And he's getting ready to fight Youngblood and Prophet with him and Bedrock. So then we jump to Brigade number 2. Is this boring? Am I making it boring, or is it okay?
No, you're fine.
Okay. I'm almost done. So then we jump to Brigade number 2. So we leave off at Brigade number 1. Genocide has come to the Earth, and he's like just destroying the city, and he keeps demanding that he wants Brigade to come because he wants to fight Brigade. Like I said, they're an outlaw group, so they show up, they fight Genocide, and then they are all teleported to his home world, and they battle in an arena. And so this is all just a fight issue. It's all just a big fight issue between Genocide and
That's
Brigade.
Almost all of them, isn't it?
There's no substance to that one at all, except just a big giant battle. Last issue that I have this time is, so then I jump to Supreme number 1.
Supreme! I used to have that. Man, that's a blast in the past. Look at that, like, holographic cover type thing going on or whatever.
Lost silver. It's not holographic, but it does have.
I guess that's true. I know, but
no, I know, cool. But we do get into holographic covers and all that other stuff. Anyway, I'm sorry. But so
sorry, I
the
used
book's
the wrong term.
No, it's fine. I was just trying to make the distinction. They're not here, yeah. So this character Supreme, he shows up in Earth's atmosphere. And he shows up on the blip, and they're like, "We've got a bogey coming in, and it's changing course." And so they send Youngblood up to find out what this is.
To find out that to meet Superman. I mean Supreme.
Right, exactly. So of course, it's a first issue. He's a new character. They don't know who he is. He doesn't know who they are. So of course, what do they have to do? They have to fight each other. So they fight, and then one of them realizes that who it is. It's Supreme, because what we find out later on in the book is that Supreme he disappeared from Earth like 50 years ago, and he hasn't been back. So people don't necessarily exactly know who he is right away. So they take him back to Earth, and they verify that it's him. He asks how. So he sees Youngblood, and he knows right away. He's like, "You guys have been genetically enhancing humans." He's like, "How long have you guys been doing this?" And then, so then Sentinel's like, "Hey, dude, you should join Youngblood because you'd be a cool member of our team. You should join Youngblood and help us out." And he's like, "F you guys," and he flies away. And then they flash. There's another guy that's like supposed to be like this evil guy. He's like in this boardroom, and he's putting together like a bad guy team or whatever. And he sees that Supreme's back, and he's like, we should get Supreme to join our group. And then that's how it ends. So a lot of first issues, a lot of setup, a lot of battle stuff. I mean, they're fun. Like, they're just fun to read. I mean, they're full of energy. The panels are cool. There's a lot of flow to it. There's a lot of action. I'm sitting there reading that, and you have the action lines, and you have and I'm like, man, this reminds me of what I read Firepower like a couple weeks ago, and I really like the way that who is that?
Somni?
Yeah, Somni. I really like the way Somni draws movement in that book. You know what I mean? And this kind of reminded me of that. There's a lot of like movement lines. Not that it's not ever been done before, but it's just cool. Like, it's a cool time in comics, I think, where you can kind of see it transition. And I don't know. I had fun, so I enjoyed it. But we'll see how many I read every time. But I'm going to go on this journey and reread all this stuff. So hopefully it wasn't too long and boring.
That's just great.
It sounded like you guys kind of had a little bit of fun revisiting. So
we went on that journey.
Oh,
Scott,
heck yeah.
Probably more than you.